To get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. Charles shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We know that life is a little bit difficult for folks right now, so we have come to give you the metal goodness.
Every song is political thanks to Ben tonight.
Is it really?
We'll be arguing nonstop. And he figured out a way to put each song where Vin and I literally disagree politically, so it's just going to be nonstop fighting all night.
It should be interesting.
I'm just joking. I have no idea what these songs are about. I just wanted to stress some people out more than you already are.
I noticed that the Patreon streams for November points is private this month. It has been open for the last 2 months. Did we make that private?
That was a mistake. Thank you for telling me. I shall fix it. November streams. Edit post.
Alright guys, we got some metal for you today. From the big homie, the man, the myth, the legend himself, DJ Ben in this bitch. What's going on, DJ Ben? DJ Ben!
No! My computer just decided it was not going to work with me anywhere. Public! Who can access this post? The public may.
The public.
There you are, ladies and gentlemen. Patreon is now accessible to all the public. You guys can see when our next streams are. We actually have a switch up there on the 15th. It is not going to be the Imperishable Flames. It is going to be Director Nick, because the Imperishable Flames are rescheduling for another night.
Gang, gang,
so,
gang.
Full Metal Jacket's going to be that night.
Ooh, Full Metal Jacket in this bitch. Okay, that should be good. It's a legendary war movie.
How did you know?
Jihad. What are you talking? I said it's a legendary war movie. I was like, right before Black Hawk Down, it was Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, well, you know, some of us didn't know.
All right, guys, here we go. Song number one.
Let's see what DJ Ben has to say. This is Ben's black metal bangers for 2024. He said, these are some of my favorites this year. Video description timestamp. Give me that.
Video description timestamp is 6:15.
Okay, 6:15. Then he says, this next song comes from an album this next song comes from an album that is yet to be released, November 22nd, 2024, but is my favorite that I've heard from this Toronto-based black metal outfit. Since they released the first album in the series back in 2019, from the soon-to-be-released The Sons of Perdition Chapter 4, The Shadow Zion, this is the hit new single, Occam's Razor, by Panzerfaust? I'm sure that there's a... How do you pronounce this, babe?
What's it? Panzerfaust.
Okay,
Panzerfaust.
Well, you know what? I basically had it, from your vantage point. Well, let me put some headphones on.
All right, guys.
Ben promises it's not going to be a bunch of men's songs tonight, so...
Do you have the lyrics?
Yep.
Do you have the lyrics? All right, guys, here we go.
The way.
Occam's Razor. This should be interesting. Song numero uno. Let's do it. This says official audio. By the way.
Yeah, I think that was the one where he said that's all there was. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, we'll see in a second. Now the lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is really spooky.
Yeah. Wow.
Yo,
That
okay.
creepy sound at the end there, huh?
Yeah. What are we holding on to?
No, you can go now. It was just that when I took my head cord. That his Occam's razor situation is, as God made them, as sin marred them, God rejected. That's the whole crux of the whole thing.
I think he's saying it's just human nature. So it doesn't matter if we're talking about Rome and Carthage or if we're talking about the Donbass or Stalingrad. Mm-hmm. So the Donbass region is the region over there in Ukraine where there's a heavy concentration of Russians.
Okay.
And
Did you fix that? The mic?
Yeah, you see that? That's the mic right there. So
cool.
It's saying it's the Emperor mic. That means it's going from the phone. That means that mic is not registering for whatever reason. So as long as there's green, that means people can hear us. Go ahead, keep going.
No, you were talking the Donbass region.
The Donbass region. That's where we talked about this during the beginnings of the Ukraine situation, where you had a bunch of Russian identified Ukrainian people down there in the Donbass region, and they've just been bombing the hell out of these people for the last 14, 15, 16 years, just massacring those people. And so Stalingrad, that happened in World War II. So it's just talking about all these different places where all this violence has been happening for the sake of mankind trying to chase some sort of ideal, but which I'm assuming is what Zion is, because Zion is sort of an idealized understanding of humanity.
Okay.
So you have the city of man versus city of God, right? So the city of man is essentially, especially in a biblical world, Babylon. And Babylon is the idea of where it says, let's build a city and a tower so that we don't get spread out of the earth, and to make a name for ourselves. And so Babylon, the city of Babylon, represents the height of human achievement without God. So the desire for human glory only without God. And obviously a biblical presupposition is that city is going to wreak nothing but havoc and destruction on the earth. The response to Babylon in the Bible is Zion, where you also have a city, Jerusalem, and a temple, right? And that group is supposed to be a group where God says, I will make your name great. So in the Babylonian city, humans make their own name great. In the Zionic city, God makes them great. And so you have one city that's God-centered, which means it gets practically lived out as love God and love neighbor. Then you have another city that's man-centered, and the ultimate value is ingenuity, et cetera, which is essentially the embryonic stages of what we call American capitalism and colonialism right now. So Zion, prior to the term, obviously the term Zionist has a horrible connotation right now, and rightfully so, but before Zion, and it's still a thing. Zion is sort of the idealized state of humanity. It's a perfected state of humanity. We're in right relationship with God, and we're in right relationship with each other, and everybody is prosperous. That's one of the promises of Zion, over and against what you're seeing right here in the Babylonian idea.
Okay. So when
you got the total, Vin, it's a reference to the Utopia Zion, and the shadow part of the total is reference to Jung, it looks like.
Wait. You got the total, it's a reference to the Utopia Zion, and the shadow part of the total is a reference. Oh, the shadow part of the total. Okay. And then Applejack said the Donbass is where we taught Ukraine how to drop cluster bombs back in 2014, reported by Human Rights Watch.
Yeah, we were dropping cluster bombs on them people all the way back. And yeah, Zion, the Matrix, last human capital. Yeah, no, that was it, right? Which is really interesting, because in the Matrix, Zion was actually a Babylonian type thing.
Yeah, it was.
There was no God, there was no whatever.
Yeah.
It was the pinnacle of humanity. We're fighting back against these machines because, the entire point of the Matrix, at least the first three matrices, was free will. And that's what separates us from the machines. And then, at the end of 3, sorry guys, spoiler alert, but when all those Smiths are fighting Mr. Anderson, and he's like, why do you keep doing it? Why do you keep doing it? Why do you keep doing it? I'm gonna beat the hell out of you. Why do you keep doing it? And then Neo goes, because I choose to. Right, because the Matrix was ultimately an ode to the stubbornness of the human will and the human ingenuity, and the fact that we have free choice, etc., etc. And so it's a very ironic use of the term Zionist, especially considering the current situation that we're in. For sure.
So when he says on the 8th day the Lord created suffering, I mean,
it's a good line.
Yeah, but well, go ahead. Tell me why you think it's good.
Well, go ahead. You said he's just something.
Well, I was just asking a question. He's just talking about the suffering from these different groups that he was talking about. The Donbass,
Rome, Byzantium,
yeah,
Carthage,
he's
into
talking
the rubble.
about all of those things that happened. They're actually from God. And he's, on the 8th day, basically he created everything, then he rested, and then he's like, here, suffer. Is that basically what I'm getting? Because ultimately he rejects us.
What do you mean he rejects it?
Is that what the song is saying? As God made them, as sin marred them, God glory rejects them.
Yeah.
So is that what you think the author of this song is basically saying?
Saying what?
That the suffering that humanity suffers at its own hand is actually coming from God, who created suffering on the 8th day, and that he basically just set everybody up to fail. Like, he made them, and then sin marred them, and then God rejected them because of that.
Well, it says glory rejects them. I don't know if he personifies glory the way that the Bible does. So It looks like he's saying, it's almost like a deistic understanding, because God doesn't really have an opinion in this song for or against what's happening. It's just, God made us, and then sin marred us, and then glory rejected us, because we're all seeking for glory. And that's why you have, Carthage and Byzantium and Rome, because it's mankind trying to get glory for himself. And biblically speaking, a lot of people don't realize this, but biblically speaking, you're supposed to seek for your glory. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to go after glory, and you're supposed to go after the glory of your people. Mm-hmm. And so that's not the problem in the song. That the problem is the motivation for why you want the glory. That's the difference. A person or a nation that wants glory for themselves, so that the buck stops with them, is always going to result in destruction. But if you want the glory for yourself so that you can bounce it back to the source of glory, then you're in alignment with the universe, because that's what the universe is about. The universe is about the glory of God. It's not about you. And so when you have a bunch of people that forget that, see, anything that's glorious that comes into humanity is because we are a faint reflection of the glory of God. So none of the glory that we have is owned. We don't have owned glory. We have glory on loan. And so that's what it means when the Bible says all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. What it means is God already created you a glorious being. God wasn't trying to take away from humanity when he built us. He was actually trying to build us up right from the beginning. Adam and Eve did nothing, and yet God made them the kings and queens of the entire created order. That's what it says. Let them have dominion. Mm-hmm. And so even in the heavenly realm where Adam was a ground, he's an earthborn creature. I mean, Adam literally means earthling. Even though he's an earthling and relegated to the ground, he still has dominion over the birds of the air. And so, from a biblical idea, God has already given you Zion. He's already given that to you, and then you have to lose it. But a lot of people start off, in the middle of the story where everything is screwed up, and we're trying to get there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. But in reality, it's not that we're trying to get there. It's that we have to return there. That's the real issue.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Don316? Whoever you are, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think I was thinking today about suffering, and because you'll see different posts where, for instance, there was a mom that she posted basically the people at my work don't know the suffering that I go through when I'm home. When I'm at home, people don't know the suffering that I go through when I'm at work. And basically, in all your areas of your life, you're suffering. Nobody really knows the total of what you're suffering. Only your own soul does, and just how kind of lonely that feeling can be. And so I was thinking about suffering, and I was thinking about how, like, you just, people don't know that everybody else is going through something. And so sometimes people look like life is all, you remember that story of those two men that were in the hospital bed, or nursing home or something, and one of them was sitting by the window, and he was always talking about, oh, there's a beautiful tree, and the bird lands in the tree, and he's just describing all of these beautiful pictures to the other man in the bed. And then one day, the one by the window starts choking, and the other one had been so jealous over and over that he wasn't by the window himself to see it, that he only had to hear about it, that he didn't call the nurse when the guy was choking. The guy ends up dying, and then the nurse, they're clearing out the side of the room and stuff, and he said, hey, is it possible for me to be moved to that side of the room? And they're like, sure. They move him over to that side of the room, and he, sits up to look out the window, and there's only a brick building there.
Yeah.
And like that story is...
That story's crazy.
It is a
Spooky
crazy...
as hell,
It
too.
is, yeah. But this idea that, like, we just make assumptions about other people's lives, and a lot of times people are not trying to be, like, putting out all their suffering for everybody to see and consume. People kind of internalize it, you kind of pack it into your own soul, and so everybody's going through different degrees of stuff, but there's this idea or this feeling that we shouldn't have to suffer, and that we should avoid suffering at all costs. And I don't know, like, I was just thinking, like, I wonder would we experience things differently if we were like, if we had that understanding that like maybe Genesis is not just, I think it's literal, but what if there's also like a metaphorical side to it that is, okay, because of the fall, he said, you're gonna basically, like, work is gonna be hard for you. From the sweat of your brow, you're gonna eat bread. And then he says to the woman, in childbirth, you're gonna have pain. And then in like raising the kids too, So like maybe, we can have an epidural, and that can reduce the pain that a woman can have in childbirth. And you can buy yourself a tractor so you don't have to till the ground as hard. But you're gonna suffer regardless. Like, you could push it out somewhere else. It's like the balloon thing. When you squeeze it, it pops out somewhere else. Like, you're gonna suffer. And so, maybe if we had like a different idea about it, that it was like, okay, this life, there will be suffering. And I don't know, like, I was thinking, like, could suffering be reduced if there was like a sort of like, this is going to sound weird, but every time I get sick, I hate to throw up. Like, it's a major control thing for me. I cannot stand it. When I feel like I'm never going to stop throwing up, every time I get, like, when I've been pregnant, usually that's when I get the most sick. And so, like, the last time that I got sick, I was like, okay, I'm not going to fight it and get all stressed out about it and worry that I'm going to, like, throw up the rest of my life until I die. I'm just going to accept this for what it is. And, like, it was significantly less stressful, the entire experience was. And I was like, is life like that? Is suffering like that? Like, it's hard for me to, like, talk about it, especially, like, in your presence, because you've suffered so much more in your life than I have. And so maybe it sounds like, just tossing off somebody's pain to even suggest such a thing. But is there a way to mitigate suffering in such a way as to, like if we're resistant to it, or if we just say, okay, this is going to be hard, but, like, we're going to, and there is an end to it. It's not like we're not eternal. Like, we're going to go on to another life. So, like, the suffering in this life will end. It will not go on forever, even though it feels like it will. So, I don't know, like, I was kind of just throwing around that, like, what do you think?
Relative to what exactly?
That idea of, suffering, like what I was just saying.
The idea of suffering is necessary?
Well, not that it's necessary, although I do think that it is necessary for growth and change, because, or maybe I'm just speaking for myself. I definitely think that I understand. There's also another post that I keep seeing a couple of my friends posting out there where they're saying, like, there's some things that you're not going to understand until you go through it. Like, there's a whole lot of judgment that happens about, I judged people that got divorced, and then I got divorced, and I was like, well, circumstances are different, So, yeah. Like, things change when you experience it yourself, and so, I don't know, like, what do you see what I'm saying about the, like, suffering?
That people have judgment until they suffer?
No, just that, like, suffering is something that's going to happen in life, and the degree to which we just, like, accept it and say, like, okay, there's gonna be struggle. Oh, here's my turn. You know what I mean? Like, when it happens? Or do you think that that's too, because again, like, I feel uncomfortable even saying this in your presence because you've suffered more than I have. So is this like,
well, I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
The song itself is pretty biblically accurate when it says on the 8th day God created suffering, because the Bible doesn't shy away from the fact that it is God who created suffering. It says that the whole world is held in bondage to decay in hope. Well, the devil doesn't hold the world in bondage to decay because of hope, obviously. So the person who holds the world in bondage to decay is God, according to the scripture. So, I mean, you have to contend with that.
Yeah, but he doesn't say he created suffering.
What do you mean? I consider
Didn't
that
we create
it says I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subject to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjugated it in hope.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So he's right. The guy's right. God did create suffering on day 8, in the sense that, he created the universe and everything pristine in day 7. We usually say suffering because sin entered the world. No. Yeah, we sinned, but it doesn't necessarily follow that suffering follows. Suffering follows because God voluntarily decided to make that a consequence of sin. That's not something that's like automatic.
Well, it is automatic now, though.
No, it's not.
What do you mean?
Because God is still causing people to suffer. So, biblically, you can't say, because a lot of Christians try to do this. They'll try to like try to get God off the hook for human suffering and say, well, you did this and this is inevitably going to happen. Well, that's not always true. People who cheat, for example, don't always get caught. There are people that cheat and get along fine.
That's true.
People died in horrific ways in concentration camps. Mr. Hitler was able to decide how he was going to leave the world. So,
yeah.
I think a lot of Christians, like, sort of knee-jerk reaction to try to defend God cannot survive the internet, because people can see, like, it's clear divine intervention that Mr. Trump, he was seconds away from death. And God had him look this way, and the bullet missed him. Well, there was a guy that was there with his wife and kid, and he didn't make it out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, everybody's like, yo, that's God. God saved that dude. Absolutely. Well, if God saved that dude, then that means God is responsible for the death of the other guy. You can't have it both ways.
No, you can't.
You can't.
Yeah.
And so, like, you got to figure out how to come up with a theology of suffering that takes the Bible seriously. Because that's what it says.
But suffering is inevitable.
No, it's not. Suffering's inevitable means there is nothing possible that could change the outcome.
So you think somebody could live their entire life and not suffer?
No, what I'm saying is the reason that people suffer is because God determined a certain degree of suffering for that person. So inevitability,
that's what I'm saying.
Inevitability, it has more to do with fate, as in this is some unchangeable thing that nobody in the universe can change. God can change your circumstance tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So suffering is not inevitable. Christians don't believe suffering is inevitable. Christians believe that glory and peace and love is inevitable. So suffering is a temporary thing. So what we're supposed to do as Christians is not say that God has nothing to do with suffering, but say that suffering is temporary. And he says, I consider our present sufferings aren't worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. But you can't say that suffering is inevitable because of sin, or suffering in this world is inevitable, because the Bible never says that. What it says is God brings suffering into the world for specific purposes and reasons. For example, Jesus' suffering could have changed at any point because he said so. He said, I could have called 10,000 angels, we could have solved the problem. But he chose to stay in the suffering because we have a debt to pay. So Paul says, we know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth. And you know that that's painful. Right up to the present day. Not only so, but we ourselves, who are the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for our adoption to sonship, the redemption of our bodies. For in this we hope, and in this hope we are saved. But what is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? So we hope for it, we wait for it patiently. So Paul is saying, of course God brought that suffering into your life. Of course, when that shit happened to you and you got that horrible phone call, God knew trillions of years ago you were going to get that phone call. Now the issue is, how do you interpret that suffering? That's the question.
Yeah.
If you interpret the suffering as, poor me, this shouldn't happen to me, blah, 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 you know what? You can get probably thousands of people around you to say the same thing with you and cry with you. And I think to a degree that that's helpful. But as far as like getting into the weeds of how to react to horrible situations, I don't think that that's going to get you where you need to go. I personally do not resent God for the suffering that he's written into my life. How I react to it is not necessarily the most Christian way to react to X or Y given thing. But I just think as a Christian, we have to be as explicit as we possibly can and say, because we can't leave it to the people that write music like this to say the truth. And that's what's happening, is that Christian bands should have come up and said this shit, right? We should have been out there saying, yeah, man, thank God created suffering, bro, for real. There's nothing that happened to you in your life, dear listener, that God couldn't have changed in a split second. He chose not to. Horrible message for man-centered people. But, you know, the Bible's not a man-centered book, and the universe is not a man-centered universe. And the fact of the matter is that sometimes we need to be quiet and realize that the thing is not about us. Like, as human beings, we just make the assumption we're the apex predator on the planet Earth, so we just make the assumption that everything is supposed to be catering to us. Well, it doesn't work out like that. This is interesting. To those who by persistence in doing good seek glory, honor, and immortality, he will give eternal life. So right there, Paul is saying you ought to seek for glory and honor. You should want that. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make you non-humble or whatever the false humility thing that people have is. You should be working for your own honor and glory. But then look at verse 8. But for those who are self-seeking and who reject the truth and follow evil, there will be wrath and anger. So that means there is a way to be a glory and honor seeker without being looked upon as a self-seeking person. Mm-hmm. And that's the paradox of life. And that's one of the reasons I'm not a fan of false humility, because I'm like, false humility is just a way to brag. You see what I'm saying? Like, if I'm Michael Jordan, I'm the best player in the court, it is not humble to say, oh yeah, dude outside the street's a lot better than me. Like, that's not humility. Right. Sorry.
It's a lie.
You know, if Michael Jordan said, look, I spent countless hours in the gym shooting, blah, 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 but God at the root is the reason why I am the way that I am. And if God ever strapped up some basketball shoes, you guys would actually see real talent. Okay, that's not the same thing. Mm-hmm. The guy's got a freaking statue going into work. Okay, when you go into work, there's a statue of this guy. I think that's the kind of glory that terminates on you. If the glory terminates on you, it's bad glory. If the glory bounces back and glorifies God and then illumines the place around you, that's good glory. There's bad glory and good glory. If you want to be a black hole, which that's what a black hole does, it just absorbs all the light around it. What ends up happening, though, it's not called a light hole. It's called a black hole. So if you're just, and what is a black hole? It's just emptiness. It's a vacuum. So empty, vacuous people, all they do is take glory from people. They take glory from people, and everybody in their circumference gets sucked into their little dark world, right? And that's all you are, is a black hole. The sun is not a black hole because it's a star that hasn't exploded yet. But look what happens when the sun decides, you know what, I'm going to show out today. Plants grow, kids play baseball, right? Like, and so you've got the opportunity to be a sun or a black hole. The sun doesn't shine for itself, but when the sun shows off, life happens, right? When a black hole shows up, everything gets black, everything gets heavy, and everything turns dark. And so, like, we've got an opportunity as people, you know? You're a star regardless, right? Stars are glorious, so you're a star regardless. You're either going to be the sun in the little space that you're in, or you're going to be a black hole. in which case you suck the light out of everything. Nobody likes being around you. Then you feel bad for yourself, and you become even more dense and more of an element that makes everything around you just dead. But guess what happens? It sucks everything into its own center. Okay? So self-centered people are black holes. That's what they do. And you can have billionaire black holes, and you can have dirt poor black holes, and you can have billionaire sons, and then you can have dirt poor sons. That's one of the reasons I never hate on anybody for showing out. When the sun shows out, it's a glorious thing. When Michael Jordan goes out and he's walking on, that's glorious, man. That's beautiful.
So what you would say humility is when you, again, what you said, recognize where your greatness comes from. That's humility?
Mm-hmm. All you have to do with humility is just recognize if you're the sun and the earth came to you and said, man, thank you so much for shining and giving light and all the rest of it, and the sun were to say, man, if you think I'm a badass, God did this thing before I was even around. Read your Bible. That's the point of Genesis, right? I got God bless my atheist friends, but they're like, you got plants before the sun, Vin. I mean, what's going on there? It's like, yeah, the most worshipped deity in the ancient world was the sun. And so there's a literary strategy for putting life and light before the sun. It's saying that the sun is a faint reflection of the originator of light and life. That's why the scripture calls God the Father of light.
That's right, yeah.
See how that goes? And so that's all humility is. Humility is just simply recognizing that, look, the sun is the baddest guy on the block, okay? The sun is the baddest guy on the block. But the sun knows who he is and who made him. And by the way, I just got done listening to an accredited legendary scientist who's speculating on whether or not the sun is conscious. True story. So that's what humility is. That's humility. Humility is not saying, I can't do anything right, blah, blah, blah. That's not humility. The difference is, where did it come from? Where does your light come from? What's fueling the light of the sun? What's fueling your glory? I'm probably smarter than everybody in the room right now. I didn't get that. That's why I keep telling you guys, I barely graduated high school. I know I'm more intelligent than most of you. But that's because God made me that way. It's that simple. And there's talents that Applejack has that I don't have, and that's because God made him that way. But you know what the Bible says? The Bible says Applejack is my brother, so whatever is his is mine. Whatever God gave him as a gift is there to serve me, and whatever God gave me as a gift is there to serve my brother. So I want him to stunt. I want him to rap. I want him to be as bad as he could possibly be. Because when he does that, I know life is going to happen. It's that simple. So this is a really good song. You can look at it as a negative song, but I would say this is what happens to people when they seek for glory where the glory terminates on them. And when you have groups of people where the glory terminates on them, they terminate everybody around them, including themselves. And if you don't like Nazism, that's what happened. And if you don't like what happened during the slave trade, that's what's happening. And if you don't like colonialism and American exceptionalism, that's what's happening. Look, America, it used to be the most beautiful, wonderful place. We were actually a beacon of freedom. I do believe that at some points. But we're a current black hole now. Everywhere we go, we suck people into our center. We take all the fucking benefits of every other country and leave them with nothing but war, death, and hopelessness. So there's nothing wrong with being happy and proud to be an American. We should shine as Americans. The problem is that we're not being American. Because America is an idea. It's a certain kind of an idea. And right now we're not living in alignment with the glory of the idea of what America could be and could become. So there you go. This is a very, 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 very interesting song. And that's what I'd say, man. If you're an artist, man, you better stunt. You better go out there and brag about your art. If you're a badass at guitar, you better let people know. You better play that shit. A person like me wants to hear it. These brothers right here from Canada, you know what kind of mentality you have to put music together and then put it out there? I promise you, it wasn't no false humility bullshit. These dudes are glorious. And so are you. I'm not saying that to You're glorious. There's nobody like you, and there'll never be another person like you ever again. You're fucking glorious. Just go out there and just be yourself, man, woman, whoever you are. Just be yourself. That'll be enough. 9.1.
9.
9. Okay.
9.
Don316 says, I shred. That's how he's going to light the world up.
Here we go.
Wah! Maybe you can help me with my terrible ass guitar playing. We'll see you beautiful people on the other side of the break.
Nice lying.
We'll see you on the other side of the break. Vin out.
Sori out.
We will see you again. Commercial break. We'll be right back. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of Alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that
can
off.
also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee,
Can't
a
guarantee
positive
you a
review.
positive review.
Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch.
Buy merch indeed. Buy merch indeed. And y'all shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the midst of a wonderful stream for the big homie Ben. You guys sit back. We're about to do something we have not done before.
ACOD is the name of the band. Habentis Maleficia. Video times description.
Habentis Maleficia. Good lord. I don't know what that means, bruh.
49:45. Okay, so DJ Ben says the only reason ACOD's new April 26, 2024 album, Their Sets Noirs, Black Verses, is not on my album of the year list is because they used this as track 1. Like, seriously, how are you supposed to follow this track on the album? From Marcelli French, this is ACOD, Habentis Maleficia. He said, I usually have you guys do your... I usually have you do your job and look up the lyrics yourselves, but this song had a good deal of French lyrics, so I thought it only fair to give you the lyrics for this song with the translation for those sections put directly in here.
How nice.
I have put the translations directly after the French sections and have indicated when those sections end. It should be fairly simple to follow. When the song lyrics hit a French section, it's listed in bold italics, like that, with the English translation for that section in bold, like that. Okay. And then the vocalist goes back into straight English until the next French section. This happens multiple times in the song with the vocalist vocalizing the English and then doing some vocals and spoken word in French. Okay, so do you want me to just send you the English sections?
Yeah, por favor. All right, guys, here we go. Here we go. This is going to be a very interesting one, guys. The name of this song is...
Habentis Maleficia.
All right. And let's do it. Timestamp 51:20. out the translation.
Immobile édifice, gravé dans sa pierre, les mensonges des temps jadis. Endormi sous le linceul des nuits froides. Nous savons ce qui se cache derrière le voile des ténèbres, ce qui est venu hanter le ciel, hanter la terre, hanter nos vies. Ô toi et tes divins commandements, toi qui parles au nom de tous, et notre silence, oh ce silence! Oh oui, nous savons ce qui se terre, qui crache, qui rampe, qui cherche, qui maudit, qui s'éveille, griffant le sol, prêt à nous écharper. On these ages, a broken tombstone. Every church is built of bones. Reckoners running. The end just leaves. Mais les flammes vacillent et nos lumières se meurent. Et c'est au plus noir de la nuit que naîtra la peur. Les chants se tairont, l'assourdissant silence résonnera. Bien plus puissant que les trompettes de l'apocalypse, car les flammes vacillent et nos lumières se meurent. On these ages, a broken tombstone. Every but it's not written.
My goodness gracious.
gosh. Wow, that ending, like you could read the 23rd Psalm or something just during that ending part. Crazy. Wow.
Unbelievable.
This is considered progressive, right? I mean, it did a lot of changes, but it's like,
I mean,
it did not stay
wouldn't
the
call
same.
I
It was
wouldn't
like
call
a
it
bunch of songs within a song.
I wouldn't call it progressive. I agree. I mean, it was 20 minutes long. It was 20 minutes and 20 seconds long,
But
dear
it
listener.
felt like 5 minutes and 48 seconds.
That's
for
probably
me.
one of the longest songs we've heard in a long time. That was a long freaking song, but it was really cool. I'm glad that you took the leap, Ben. I'm glad you took the leap and tried a long song like that, man. Damn, that shit was
I was
crazy.
like, I like some parts of it. I was like, this is not really my thing. It's cool, but it's not really my thing. And then it would just keep hitting these parts that I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Especially that ending.
I'm gonna go back to this review a couple times because sonically it was incredible. It was incredible. I was trying to get the lyrics up for everybody to see because they were pretty expansive, and so I was kind of dealing with that a little bit. But man, what a ridiculously good song, bro.
What are you putting up there?
That
A
one
messed
was
up screenshot. Yeah, I know. It was just funny.
Yeah.
It was funny looking.
Because I mean, there were a lot of lyrics to this joint. Like they really took it there.
Yeah. So.
All right, so
it starts out with,
what was going on with you? Like you were really vibing on this song.
Well, like at the end, especially, like there was those violin parts. I'm thinking about telling Shorty to send me my violin now. I think I'm gonna start trying to learn it. I think I'm getting ready for that now because I've been thinking about it a lot. And
yeah, she had a violin, y'all. She had a violin.
There was a day that we were like at this music store, and I've thrown around the idea of trying to learn the violin, but I just didn't feel like. I do think that you have to be connected, like on a soulish level, to the instrument that you're playing, and like I feel like my entire soul like was just not able to connect with anything because I was having like a spiritual issue. So yeah, I think that I'm feeling like I'm coming in a different place, and like music is hitting me differently, especially the violin. And I keep thinking like, you're right, we do basically live in a resort, and I'm like, I would love to just be outside, just like, I mean, I think it's gonna take a little while because I think at first it's a lot of, but like once you get past that point, and you can like just play some stuff. I think it's gonna be like incredible to play by the lake. But
thank you. The band is not prog. They're a melodic death metal band. Thank you, my brother.
I mean, prog. It didn't feel like prog. It just felt like it like had a lot of transitions that were very different from each other. I loved the parts. I don't know if there was female vocals in there. There was, or if I was like, is that an instrument?
There was.
But
I caught some female vocals in it.
Oh, it was just beautiful.
Or it was a dude impersonating a female, but it was definitely female vocals there.
Yeah, I guess you could say high vocals.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Yes, Dwayne, I know the Beatles invented the violin. That's why I want to play. It has nothing to do with my solar spirit or anything musical. It has only to do with the Beatles.
I see our mother is burning. Don't look away. To the sky she returns. Watch her fly away.
Yeah, what do you think about that? One by one we fall, but day by day we're getting closer to the top.
Oh, mother, this world is out of control, but soon we will reach our goal. So I don't know if this is a story record. At first when he was talking, I was like, oh, he's talking about Mother Earth and we're destroying the environment.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure because it says, look at the, watch the sky. To the sky she returns to watch her fly away.
And then like at the end of that part, it says, from the depths of our den, our son becomes a man. Ritual.
Well, prior to that, it says, one by one we fall. But day by day, we're getting closer to the top. That's a brilliant line. So one by one, you're falling, but then day by day, you're getting closer to the top. How does that work?
Well, the only way that I can think of it, have you ever seen ants cross water?
Okay.
It's really disgusting because I freaking hate ants. But, like, they will sacrifice their own selves until their bodies create a bridge. So like one by one we fall, but they're getting closer to the goal.
Okay, so you're just climbing atop these bodies.
Right. One by one we fall, but day by day we're getting closer to the top. So.
Right. So humanity's falling, but there's a segment of humanity that's benefiting from the fall of the other humans. That makes a lot of sense. Sounds like where we are. Okay.
And, oh, mother, this world is out of control. but soon we will reach our goal. And I mean, we talked before, like that, you know, the Hiroshima, like the bomb that we put, like, we're testing out our own, like how smart can we get? We can split an atom, but we're like blow up these human beings in the process.
Right. Yeah, it's really interesting though, like the mentality of a lot of people. Like, go ahead, go.
This is just like a mom's perspective too. Is that like I cannot stand it when I buy something and I'm like, that tastes a little bit different, and then you start looking into it and you're like, okay, that was bioengineered in a lab. Like, I don't want bioengineered stuff. Like, that's great that you guys are figuring out how to bioengineer your food, but friggin' I don't want to eat it, and I don't want to feed it to my kids. So, like, you guys are getting smarter in your lab, but, like, what are we losing from not, like, just growing from the dirt?
Right. The Monsanto stuff. I see our mother is burning. Don't look away to the sky. She returns. Watch her fly away from the depths of our den. Our son becomes a man. Ritual hidden to blind eyes. Our song rises. Our song rises. Go ahead.
That I didn't understand where we were going there. Like, the other stuff I could kind of had some ideas, but
maybe the translation that follows will save us. Immobile building, engraved in its stone, the lies of times gone by. Asleep naked under the shroud of cold nights, we know what lies behind the veil of darkness, what came to haunt the sky, haunt the earth, haunt our lives. Oh, and you and your divine commandments, you who speak on behalf of all, and our silence, oh, this silence. Oh, yes, we know what is hiding. Who is spitting? Who is crawling? Who is searching? Who is cursing? Who is waking up? Clawing the ground, ready to tear us apart. Man, that's just...
And who...
There's a lot there.
Who is that? I mean, is that humanity itself? Who is that, like the people that like are getting crushed beneath the stretching wall? You know what I'm saying? Like what we talked about earlier. Is it the people that are caught beneath that, engraved in its stone? The lies of time goes by. Yeah, it says the immobile building. Yeah, I kept reverting back to he's talking about the Earth. The Earth is an immobile building. Mm-hmm. But that's not necessarily true because the Earth is still moving. Go ahead. I don't know that water if it's gonna leak onto your computer.
Yeah, it's okay. I got it. It's okay. Go ahead, continue.
I'm not sure. Like, it wasn't. I started like overthinking the lyrics when it was playing, and then I was like, I'm not gonna do this. This is a freaking 20-minute song, and I want to just experience this journey with the music.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
So
that's kind of a similar thing that I did as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because some of this is, like I said, like some of it lacks some context. Like, you know, we don't. There's a lot here that we're just gonna have to speculate on because these guys are clearly trying to say something. It's just we don't know necessarily what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
We can figure it out, but the song is 20 minutes. You know,
so
these poor people will be here all night. You leave it up to, y'all know. Leave it up to me. Good night.
So he says, on these ashes, a broken tombstone. Every church is built on bones. Black candles burning. The angels sneeze. Again, I don't know. He's saying every church is built on bones, so I don't know if this is the same thing where we're saying like even the churches themselves are built on.
Well, yeah, the church is supposed to be the place where it's like you're supposed to transcend this world. They're supposed to give you not just moral principles, like, hey, be nice to each other, but it's also supposed to give you some sort of feeling for the transcendent, that there's something beyond this world.
Yeah.
And you can't get much more this world than bones.
Oh, you know, a church built on bones.
The church is built on bones.
I like the way you think. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Because you're talking like the church is it's like a supernatural thing. It's like otherworldly, but then the bones are like, but and they're in the dirt.
It's built on bones. And obviously, there's another idea of if Christ didn't rise from the dead, then the church was built on bones as well. Because Paul came out and said, if Christ is not risen, then our faith is completely dead. There's all these people.
He basically said, of all men,
we're of all men most miserable. Why are we going through all this bullshit if the resurrection really didn't truly happen? Like if the church truly is built on bones, man, the world these people live in is true, but it's not. It says the earth is. He hangs the earth on nothing. The scripture says. That's a very interesting thing. But yeah, there's this thing called an ossuary in the time of Jesus. And after the person died or whatever, and you had the little barrel, you would come back and collect the bones, and you would put it in a little box called an ossuary, and then there you go.
That's why they keep thinking they found Peter, right?
Yeah, they found an ossuary with the title Magdala in it, like Magdalene, and so there was a lot of speculation about that. People were actually
remember we were watching that thing and like somebody was trying to get to a certain thing and they just destroyed a bunch of stuff along the way.
Yeah, what? That's not very descriptive for a movie.
No, it wasn't. It was a documentary, and they were talking about like a bunch of people like basically they were trying to get to a certain goal and they got praised within their lifetime. But then when more stuff got looked into, they just desecrated stuff, covered over stuff, and ignored stuff so that way they could get to the goal. And basically, they had found Peter's bones or something like that. But then they found that like there was more, and they found more. And, you're not familiar with this.
Yeah, I don't remember at all.
Maybe I was the only one still awake. Usually I'm the one that falls asleep when we watch stuff. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, American churches
so
definitely built on the bones of the indigenous, yeah. Now, go ahead. Well,
no, you were talking about the ossuary.
Well, yeah, it would, an ossuary is simply a box of bones. And like I said, if like Jesus's, bones were in an ossuary somewhere, that would have been the end of Christianity. From Jump Street. A lot of people don't understand this. There were a lot of messianic claimants at the time of Jesus. Shimon Bar Kokhba probably being one of them. There's this guy named Theudas. There were a lot of people that were claiming that they were the guy. So the idea that like the disciples just made up the resurrection story is like just preposterous. Why didn't everybody make up a resurrection story then?
Why haven't, like, no offense, why haven't the atheists come up with a box of bones and said, "Oh, we found these inscriptions. This is Jesus' bones." Like, why did they do something?
I mean,
like for instance, the church leaders of that time. Why didn't they just go grab some of the bones of one of the, bury it and?
Well, I don't think
or
it's
throw some bones.
I don't think it's atheists' goal to disprove Christianity.
Okay, I just
like I don't. They
there
don't.
are some
atheists,
people that don't want it to be true.
Atheists
right?
don't strike me as the kind of people that are that.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
all right, then go with me here. The religious leaders of the time, in Jesus' time, when they went and like, they didn't want to tell the truth of what happened.
Well, because
I mean, they
the disciples were doing miracles in Jesus' name. Plus, Jesus was appearing to people. What are you going to do with that? I mean, he was hanging out with people for 40 days before he went back to heaven. And then when that happened, he's out there.
Right.
The
So
disciples are out there healing in Jesus' name. They couldn't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but religious people would be a lot quicker to do some fake shit than an atheist would. I think the atheists...
Right.
Look, man, the atheists already assume the whole thing is bullshit. So they're not out there trying to, like, do something to disprove it. The atheist position is, you prove this crazy thing that you're saying. Like, this is crazy. What are you talking about? So he rose from the dead? What are we talking about? Right? That's how they think. So they're not going to go out and disprove something that they don't think is, you know what I'm saying? They think it's a fairy tale.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Have you ever heard of Simon of Perea and the Gabriel inscription? Yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of the Magdala stuff. When they were doing, what do you call it? What's that movie that everybody thought was real? Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code, yeah.
I had so many people like, what about your Christianity now? It's over with. I was like, oh shit, Christianity's over? What happened? The Da Vinci Code! You guys voted out Mary Magdalene, blah, 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 blah. I was like, what are you guys talking about? What are you talking about? But they were serious. They really thought that the movie was real. They thought it was real.
Well, it was a book as well.
I mean, what can I do? I was like, I think Christianity will survive. I think it'll survive. That guy ended up thinking I'm a Christian later on. Shout out to
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was Carl. Shout out to Carl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he used to fight me at work and shit. Yeah, it's funny. Okay, so all right, he can keep going.
So then...
it is the sun... Okay, I'm just going to read
go
this.
ahead, yeah.
It is the sun that darkens our life, who fogs our mornings, who terrorizes our nights, hurting with unspeakable pain our fathers' fathers and their fathers before them, searching since the dawn of humanity to eradicate this entire scourge. That is pretty interesting.
Okay. That's pretty much how you view the sun, right?
But look, it says it is their sun that darkens our life. So it's saying it's their sun that's darkening our life. So I'm assuming once again that this is talking about religion, because it's their sun, and we're talking about an S-O-N,
yeah.
but there's an S-U-N, you know what I'm saying? And then it goes back again to, I see our mother burning, don't look away, she's going to fly away, or whatever it is. So
yeah.
And it says right there, it hurt with unspeakable pain, our fathers' fathers and their fathers before them, searching from the since the dawn of humanity to eradicate this entire scourge. So it looks like he's saying that religion is a tool that's been, or religion is some sort of virus that's been around since the dawn of humanity, that's out there trying to eradicate us. And it basically, if they can get and eradicate the religion before the religion eradicates us, it looks like we're going to be okay. Is what it looks like to me.
Okay.
It says it terrorizes their sun fogs our mornings and terrorizes our nights, and it hurts us with unspeakable pain. I mean, good night. I mean, that's been kind of the history of humanity, though. You know what I'm saying? Like we've and it's kind of interesting because it kind of harkens back to Song 1, because Song 1 was essentially saying very, very similar things about, you know, humanity and religion and its effect on the world and all the rest of it. You know, so there's a lot of truth there, because we're, you know, on the one hand, we're supposed to be providing transcendent, and that's, you know, that's what people want right now is transcendence.
Yeah.
I think postmodernism, I think materialism, I think all of those isms are really starting to fall into unpopularity as people are looking around and trying to figure out, like, what makes their life significant.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people are going to be going to trying to find a transcendent answer, something that goes along with our intuition, because I think it's becoming harder and harder and harder for people to believe that this just poofed out of nowhere, and there's no telos, there's no like engineered design plan or a reason. We're just floating through space and, you know, cold, pitiless indifference and all the rest of it. I think a lot of people are starting to get really worn down by that ideology, because it'll suck the life out of you, you know, if you believe that stuff. How do you get up in the morning? You know what I mean? If you believe that you're just alone floating through space, and that, you know, especially after, you know, the events of this week where everybody's supposed to be like, oh, this is fine, like, we'll be okay. Like, I don't care whose side you agree with, half the country is like in terror. Like, so it doesn't matter like who won. If you love your country, you got, I'm watching it, I mean, you got people that are legitimately terrified.
Yeah.
They're and then you got other people that are legitimately hurt and afraid, and it's like, damn, like, it's one of these like Pyrrhic victories when nobody's a winner, because everybody's kind of like walking around confused a little bit.
Sometimes I wonder, like, if there's just like too much time spent online, because, like, I mean, like, I was about like running a bunch of different errands today, like snagging a bunch of good stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and like every interaction that I had with people, like, it was just like, it was all like good, positive interactions. Same thing at the store, like, just, you know, people just kind of like just being friendly with people, you know, and saying hi and stuff like that. And there was like, I understand like in the political realm, and that people are kind of like freaking out online, and people are like, you know, sniping at each other and stuff, but like, I don't know if like day to day, like, is it really affected, or are we're still all here together? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's a very, very good astute observation. Like, for real.
Because it's just the same thing as like in a comment section when somebody will come up here and they'll say some crazy shit to us that we're like, oh, you would never say that if you were right in the room. And I think that politics is the same way. I think there's a lot of it, you know, a lot of like panic and whatever, and like, you know, people feeling like other people are hating their group of people, and I don't know.
Well, yeah,
but I'm telling you, like some of the interactions that I had with people, like, they were, like, sometimes you're like, oh, me and this person are kind of similar. Like, I had interactions with all kinds of different people, and they were all different. They were all different sorts of people, and none of it, I didn't feel any of that, like, I don't know.
There was one part that was like a little Pantera-ish that I didn't like.
What?
Yeah, there was
you don't like Pantera?
I love Pantera, but it just I'm like, that does not fit in this song. I didn't like it. But everything else I thought was crazy as far as, you know, sonically goes. It was really, really good. Some folks have the need to belong to a collective idea, and organized religion offers a feeling of belonging. This can be abused. Yeah, I mean, I don't think organized religion is the only group that offers belonging. I think it's a major group that offers belonging, but I think everything, like definitely the gang culture. Gang culture's about that. The feeling of belonging, the feeling of, okay, you have a family now. You're not out by yourself. The military's like that. I mean, that's one of the great draws of special operations units, is that you're gonna make a lifelong friend, band of brothers type situation. Like, and so that's a major. I was talking to a dude, rest in peace to the homie, but the dude was legend. Like, if he wouldn't have died, like, he would have been on that rotation with all those people, right? So I was talking to the homie before he died, and I was like, everybody like majorly looked up to dude. Like, dude was like I said, like, he was the ultimate, kind of. I mean, everybody had him at the top. I got this guy John Mace Judas at the top, but I mean, they're honestly the guy. But anyway, the point is, I'm talking to him, and like, he's done everything, he's done it all, and I'm like, do you miss it? Do you miss her? He's like, yeah, I miss everybody, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, like, what do you miss the most? And he was like, oh, the mates, because that's, his mates, being in that number, he'd say, like, that was his. And it's interesting to me, like, if you really get into certain subcultures, especially those kinds of subcultures, there is a massive religious element to it, partly because they're gonna die, or you're so close to death.
Yeah.
Either you're dealing death, or there's gonna be a dead body by the end of this engagement type of thing. And when I say like they're religious, I'm not talking about they prayed a lot or whatever. I'm talking about the way in which they approach it was ritualistic. And the way that they talked about their buddies falling or the bad guys falling was like couched with all this religious language. And so like I began to see like, yeah, like a lot of the reasons people end up getting attracted to those organizations is because it offers a sort of transcendent family. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting, like the same tactics that get used to recruit people to the U.S. military are the exact same tactics that are used to recruit people to gangs. Like it's incredible. Incredible.
I was listening to this thing was talking about like because we have so many, there's lots of churches, there's lots of like denominations and stuff like that, and like, wouldn't it be crazy if we got to the point where there was still a bunch of churches? Because I used to think, oh my gosh, all these different churches, this is not good because there's just too much variation. We need to all become one team.
Yeah.
But if it was the same team as far as your spiritual belief, like your trust in Jesus Christ, obviously, his death and resurrection, like the fundamentals of Christianity, but the variation in churches wasn't them arguing over, like, debating
Stupid
over
shit.
Yeah, but instead it was actually the variations of the soul. So you'd have like a group of guys like you that are drawn towards certain things and that are like kind of built like internally a certain way, and you guys are drawn together in a church, and like, what does your guys' worship look like? What does you guys' mission look like? And then there's like another church that's like for people like me that like, we like the nature stuff, and we're like, and like you guys come and visit our church, and then we like explain to you like the nature and how like you see God and all these different things, and then you guys explain to us like the militant side maybe, or like the like, because Jesus is not like a pussy, you know what I'm saying? Like,
we explain the militant side.
Yeah, like the way that, because some, you see what I'm saying? Like where you have like,
well,
this
I've always
what's
said,
natural to somebody's soul.
People always complaining about denominations. I'm not sure if denominations are as bad as we originally thought, or if they're just different divisions of the military. When you think about denominations, right? Because you have like, some churches are like mega worship focused. They're not really focused on what's going on in the outside world. Those kinds of churches never really run into any problems. They never run into any bomb threats because they're not doing anything to affect culture, but it's still valuable. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah, man. This song is crazy. I'm going to give this one a 9.4. It would have got an 8, but there was some part that they repeated twice. I'm like, okay, that just didn't fit in. It just didn't fit in. It wasn't trash. It just didn't fit in the song, which you know,
Okay.
it happens.
So for me, there was some variation. Will nods. Yes, absolutely. That's actually some of the stuff that Vinny and I are doing. It's going to be some like Christian metal worshipy type stuff. But well, I don't know if you would. It is, but it, not in the style that you would expect. But anyway, XBM. Okay, let me focus. Yeah. So I would give this one was weird because there were parts of it that were like 9.8. 9.9 for me.
Agreed.
And then there were other parts that I was like,
yeah,
like 7.2.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm like,
it was the
a
Pantera part.
very different for me. the two parts, but definitely like, I'm gonna give this one I'm gonna go with a 9.3. Because those high points were like really freaking high for me. So yeah. Maybe
Yeah.
no more than 9.8. What did I just give it? Did I say 9.8? Did I say 9.7?
You said 9.3.
I said 9.
Commercial
I'm
break.
sorry, Ben. That's the way it is.
We will be back.
We can't guarantee a positive review.
We have another 30-minute song on the way. Don't touch that dial. Vin out.
Sorry, out we do.
Go.
I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at insori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that off.
can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy merch. Hey Siri, where are you? Do you have my phone, babe? Oh, it's right here. I didn't recognize it. Excuse me. Vinny will be right back. In the meantime, we can do an Ask Me Anything. Regular songs. Yeah, Ben, I don't know why he said there was another 30-minute song coming up. I think what he meant to say was like 30-minute review, but I don't know. On record saying I'd be a pagan if I wasn't a good old Jesus guy. Yeah, XBM, I'd probably be right there with you. I'd be like mixing my cauldron to I like finding out like the different things in nature and how those things affect the body and what you can take for this or that. So I'd be like that medicine lady, that would end up getting burned at the stake, probably. It's not too late, says Nathan, for you to become an Odin worshipping heathen. Yes, Applejack. If you, the fastest way on Patreon to get your messages responded to is private chat me. For some reason, the other ones, I don't know why it is. I don't see them as much as I see like the actual like messages straight to me. So that's how I sent you the messages, through that private one. Lost Hate, I've been lurking the whole time because I got a headache. Bro, I have a headache literally right now. It's like all right here and behind my eyes too. I don't know what it is. So same situation. So have a good night, Lost Hate. I'll probably be going to sleep after this as well. Ben, you are muted. Okay, maybe I can convince you to be a pagan keening woman. Actually, you couldn't, there's no way to convince me because, like, Jesus is it for me. Like, I'm telling you guys, I was, like, in the darkest, I can't believe, like, how spiritually dark, like, and everything got for me. Like, I don't know if it was, like, people talk about, like, that dark night of the soul and stuff like that. Like, maybe someday I'll, like, kind of talk about it more, but I did this really weird thing where I sort of made this sort of vow, and it was the wrong vow to make. And it wasn't like something that like I was like tricked on or anything. Like I knew it wasn't something that I should make a vow about, but I did, and like literally like that was the start of it for me. But yeah. Whew. Yeah, it's behind your eyes. It's a migraine, not a headache. Oh, really? Yeah, it's like behind my eyeballs and up into here. It's like in this section right here. But yeah, you're 5-ish of asking for Cooking with Sori. XBM, seriously, like,